move.
What was that?
Is he talking to us?
I don't know.
Just make sure you're Andrew. You could be live right now, so hot mic it. I don't hear Dan. That's why. Yes,
Hello.
I can.
Hey guys, welcome into WagerTalk TV. This is Puck Time for Thursday, May the 11th, breaking down 2 games today in the NHL. Looking forward to it. And of course, I am Andrew McGinnis, and I have Carmine Bianco tuning in or chiming in with us from Dominican Republic. What a spot for Carm to be doing a show right now. Brian, we've got Brian Leonard with us. He'll be with me tomorrow. So tomorrow will be just Brian and I on the show. But of course, there won't be that many games anyway, so we'll be just fine breaking those down, the two of us. Some crazy games last night, guys. Edmonton, of course, they tie up the series, and cue the staying alive music, because the Maple Leafs, they stay alive in their series as they grab a victory, and the series is now 3-1. The Panthers still lead that one, of course, but an impressive victory there from the Maple Leafs. So tonight, we have the Devils and Hurricanes going head-to-head, and, of course, the Seattle Kraken and the Dallas Stars going head-to-head. So looking forward to breaking down these 2 games. Of course, you can find all 3 of us over at WagerTalk.com. I'll go to Carm. Carm, any thoughts on last night, and what do you have going for clients tonight?
I'm here. Here I am. I'm good. I can hear Joe in my ear for some reason, Joe Ranieri. But with that said, uh, Andrew, this is a great place to watch hockey at the bar here in Punta Cana. It's a great time. I'm here. It's my wife's milestone birthday that goes tomorrow. So tomorrow I won't be on the show. It'll be just you and Brian Leonard. But I'm looking forward to the games. Those games last night were pretty crazy. The Leafs get the win, and Leaf Nation is now believing that it could be Toronto in 7. Andrew, I look at this, you know what I mean? You look at the games and the way these series are going, and it's absolutely, we're getting some great playoff hockey. Not the greatest playoff hockey for me in the second round of this NHL playoffs after a very good first round, but I'm looking forward to it. You look at that game, we're going to find out what happens to Alex Pietrangelo today. He's got a hearing on that slash, pretty nasty slash on Leon Draisaitl. And we were talking about it, that could lead to a suspension, and we'll find out if it leads to a suspension. What are your thoughts on the Vegas Golden Knights without Pietrangelo, Brian Leonard?
Yeah, they took that was their goal the whole day, was to beat the hell out of them, and it surely worked. As the frustration boiled over. We even saw that with Nurse and Haig. Nurse the entire game was trying to get into a fight with Haig. They finally did at the end of the hockey game. I turned the game off after 2 periods. I knew what was going to happen. I had Edmonton for clients yesterday. Unfortunately, I lost my 5%er on Florida, but 7-2 run still in hockey. But yeah, it was a frustrating day for myself in that regard. But Yeah, we'll have to see what happens because Petrangelo has been our leader defensively all season long, and Theodore, I don't think he came to play at all last night. He has 2 penalties early on in the game. He has a pass that led to another goal. I texted Marco and I said, "Hey, did he take a payoff in this game or what?" He did not play well, and he's normally one of the best defenders on our team and very good player. But we'll have to see how it goes tomorrow. But Edmonton right now looks to be in control, at least in my eyes.
They won't be going down without a fight, that's for sure. And of course, the series is nowhere close to being over at this point. But guys, it's just so interesting. I talked about it on the show yesterday. I've been saying it really for the past few days. How it just might not be a good thing to blow out a team. You almost want to win games by 1 or 2 goals. It's been proven that if you blow a team out the next game, it seems like they respond in a big way. And that's been the story of this Edmonton series. It's also been the story of the Seattle and Dallas series, and maybe a little bit as well with the Carolina and New Jersey series. I will say for me, a big swing and a miss for me on the show yesterday with my thoughts on the over in the Leafs and Panthers game. I think it's a lesson to be learned, and I'll just say it on the show here that when a team isn't scoring and a team is struggling, although the guys, Marner and Nylander were able to find the back of the net for the Maple Leafs, I should have recognized that the goal for the Maple Leafs yesterday was going to be to play their best defensive game of the year. And mistakenly, I pretty much said the opposite, that I think they're going to have to put all their players forwards and really play good offensively, which was obviously a huge mistake on my part. They played very well defensively. Joseph Woll was amazing. He's a rookie, and he looked very comfortable back there. So hats off to the Leafs for playing some good defensive hockey. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'll say right now, with how many penalties I expect in that Vegas game the next time around, it's hard to bet an under in that series. I know we saw some games go under in a weird scoreline like 5-1, but if you give either of those teams power plays, I mean, Vegas had several chances in the second period they didn't capitalize on, but you give those guys enough power plays, especially Edmonton, they will capitalize. But let's start things off, guys. Let's jump into the show. Devils and Hurricanes here. We saw the Hurricanes bounce back in a big way in their last performance. They, of course, now have definitely a big handle on this series. And, of course, as we expect them, favorites in this one, we are seeing 6 as the total. There are still some 5.5s around, but mostly 6s as the total here in this one. Of course, Carmine, it shifts back to Carolina, a place where, although they gave up one, they've been very strong historically in the playoffs. And as I've talked about, when Rob Brendamore gets to control the matchups, he has certainly done a good job of matching up his good defensive players against New Jersey's strong offensive players. So what do you think here in this one, Carm? And how much longer do you think this series goes?
I don't think it's going to go much longer, Andrew. You look at this one, and I had quite possibly one of the worst plays in the history of WagerTalk. I took New Jersey in Game 4, and that second period by the Carolina Hurricanes, they just dominated. They gave them nothing. Everything they did wrong in Game 3, which I said they would probably be better in Game 4. They were even better than better. They were phenomenal. Now they come home to a place where in the last couple of years they've only lost 2 playoff home games. One was a Game 7 against the Rangers, and I think one was earlier in that first round against the New York Islanders. So this is a team that just doesn't lose at home. Brindamore's done a fantastic job with this team. This is for them. This is taking the next step. Win tonight, get some rest, and then hope that Leafs Florida series goes just a little longer. So they're playing it. They're playing against a team that has played either 6 or 7 games in their previous series, and puts them obviously at an advantage as well too. The thing about this line is you look at this line and it's at what, 130, Andrew? I can't see on the screen. I believe it's 130 on Carolina. If you like Carolina, check the exact score prices at your book, because at DK, where it's 130 on Carolina to win tonight. Carolina to win the series 4-1 is -120. So you save yourself 10 cents in juice. If you're going to bet Carolina, might as well take them to win the series 4-1. So with that said, it's Carolina for me tonight, and this series is done. At least I hope it is. Brian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. We all know how the road teams have done, so I'm looking at ways to play the road teams. And you got a team with his back against the wall, sort of like Toronto did yesterday. But when you look at the stats, New Jersey's only played one good game in this series. You talked about Carolina being good at home. I believe they're 11-2 straight up at home their last 13 playoff games. I think this line's a little cheap. I was looking for a way to play New Jersey. I can't play New Jersey. I prefer the Carolina side as well. I thought the line would come up a little bit higher than what it is, and if you can get that, it's a great point. Taking it in 5, you save yourselves 10 cents juice. That may just be that one sports book, or you may be able to check it out anywhere else. And so before you do play Carolina, if that's the side you're looking for, see if you can find the future in that where it's 4-1 and get the better line. It happens. One line doesn't necessarily equate to the other. I've talked to Chris Andrews about this in the past, and he said the future board is a totally different board where you take in and balance your action on there. So, yeah, you were able to find that. So that was a good spot for you. But, yeah, Carolina's been so good at home, and to me, they've dominated this series other than the one game. It's cheap. It's a cheap spot here to play Carolina, and I'll take them, -130.
What I like the most is the fact that we saw pushback from Carolina after that the game that they struggled in, and then they looked like a whole new team again when they bounced back. Brian and Carmen, that's to me what I really like for a strong team is to kind of get pushed around a little bit, get backed into a corner, and for the Devils to have a little bit of an offensive explosion they were able to have on Carolina, and for Carolina to just say, you know what, good for you guys, you're not going to do it in back-to-back games. I really did like seeing that, and that just goes to show kind of how this Carolina team is built. I'll tell you what, guys, every time I see this Carolina team playing so well, it actually frustrates me because over the past few years, I made future bets on the Hurricanes, and this was the one year I didn't do it. So, of course, it's the one year I didn't do it. They're probably looking pretty good to make a hefty run. But, guys, I like Carolina, but I do like the over. I understand Carolina can be very defensive, especially when they play at home. I would argue that the Devils are definitely gaining some chemistry. Their top guys are playing well. Jack Hughes is doing everything he can to put the team on his back. But as I always talk about, when I talk about depth, it seems to me Carolina right now, their biggest strength is that every single game you have no idea who the guy is going to be for them. It could be a first-line guy, could be a third-line guy, could be a star player. It might not be, but they're getting offense from all over, and I really like that about them. And seeing the switch from 5.5 to 6 at plus money is something very intriguing to me. And especially I talk about these situations here nearing the end of a series where we could see some empty net goals. We could see some high-scoring third periods, some desperation. Where I always talk about that lately, it seems like those games have turned into higher scoring contests. So as much as I do like Carolina, I'll go with the full game over. And I'll tell you what, last game I was able to cash the over 2.5 at -125. That closed around -145. Well, at home, the odds makers, they aren't messing around this time around. That's like -180 at this point. If you want the 2.5, you might as well take the 3.5 at a much better price because that price is gone as far as a fair number there on the 2.5. But I like the over, and it sounds like it's quite a bit of an agreement here with all of us liking the home team to get the job done. Brian, let's move on here to game number 2. Seattle has been an unbelievable story throughout the entire playoffs. They have been fun to watch. They are a team that has been creating offense consistently. And Grubauer was a great story in round 1. But after you saw in the previous game, the way that Dallas was able to bounce back, and if Ottinger even plays close to what we know he can do Do you feel like Dallas can jump out front and kind of break this back and forth streak here?
Yeah, this has been a good series for me so far. Been able to be on the right side just about every game I've played here. I do want to touch on something that somebody in the Slack, or excuse me, somebody in the other day when we were
WagerTalk
talking
live
about
feed.
yeah. We're talking about the game between Florida and Toronto, and I used to play on Florida as the underdog, but I said that I think Toronto is going to win. Well, people were looking at what the hell are you talking about? It all comes down to percentages. In this game, Dallas is a $2 favorite, so they have a 67% chance of winning. Anybody and their brother who knows percentages knows that, yes, Dallas is probably going to win. The number tells you what Dallas is going to win. They're going to win 2 out of 3 times that these two teams play. But the value can be on the underdog in that regard, which is what it was when Florida played Toronto the other day. If you're playing a game in which the underdog is expected to win 33% of the time, you still have to understand that chances are it's less than 50-50, so Dallas is probably going to win the game. I just wanted to explain that to people who don't understand what the line tells you from a win percentage standpoint. I think Dallas wins the game. There's no way in hell I'm laying 2-1 favorite on them in this contest. Am I going to play Seattle? No, but I'll try to find a way to get Seattle one way or another. Maybe over on the goals. I see that now they've finally gone from 5.5 to 6 in this matchup because all the games have been so high scoring. Seattle's a team that if you're not on them and you're not really checking them very well, they could come out and score some goals. And we've seen that all season long. Seattle has played very well on the road. Dallas is the better team. Dallas should win this series. They're playing at home, but there's not any value there at a minus $2 favorite. Looking to play Seattle one way or another, probably on a goals over situation. It's probably going to be 2.5 at this point. If I can get 3 goals out of Seattle, that's a winner for me. So that's the way I'm looking to play it. But keep in mind, if I say I think this team's going to win, well, the line tells you that team thinks it's going to win. You've got to be able to find your numbers. If Seattle's got a 33% chance to win for the line, and I think they have a 40% chance to win, chances are they're still going to lose, but the value is on Seattle, and that's how I'm looking to play this. But I think the team total for Seattle is probably the way to go.
I was looking at that one as well, and they have been a team that has been very great at responding after kind of a rough performance. Carm, what do you think here? I think if Ottinger heats up, it could be bad news for Seattle, but of course they have been a great team off a loss this playoffs. What are your thoughts here, Kraken and Stars?
Yeah, this has been a series of momentum shifts. It's just been going back and forth. You can almost say it literally. They are zigzagging this series, and if you believe in the zigzag as a handicapping tool, which it is not, then you're on Seattle tonight. But Onager looked good in the last one, and I think at home they need to. And again, this isn't a must-win for Dallas. They've proven that they can win on the road as well too. But this is one where you want to get the series lead, and then you turn this into Seattle's got to beat us twice to get by us or get through. I just don't want to lay the $2. So you start looking at what are the other options on Dallas. If you like Dallas, what are the other options? And you look at team totals. If you're expecting over in goals, you can look at regulation or even the puck line. The puck line is Dallas minus 1.5. Plus 135, so you're getting some plus money there. If you think that Dallas is the better team, you're going to get some of that empty net stuff at the end of the game. Should it even be a close one where Dallas is up a goal or so, I'm leaning to the puck line here. I like that plus money, that plus 135. But Andrew, you've been making a killing on this series, I think, in-game betting second period overs. The second period overs are unbelievable. These two teams seem to be tied at the end of the first period, scoreless at the end of the first period, and then we're getting a ton of goals in the second period that are pushing these games over the total. Unless both teams can revert back to playing a complete defensive game, whether you're laying minus 120 or minus 130 on the over 5.5, or you're now getting plus 105 on the over 6. If you love the overs before, then keep betting the overs. Just understand that sometimes when you've got that over 6 plus 105 and it's scoreless at the end of the first, you get that bad feeling in your stomach until we finally see some goals. I think we'll see them tonight because Seattle would have to revert back to how they played against the Colorado Avalanche, in which they rolled out their lines and completely just focused on shutting down the first and second lines and seeing if the Avalanche third and fourth lines could get that secondary scoring that they needed, and they didn't. And that's why 6 of those 7 games went under the total. So overbetters have been getting killed, I think, the last few days, at least even the last past week. So jumping on here and saying take the over isn't I don't think is what I'm trying to do here. I'm sticking to the puck line here, but I wouldn't blame you on taking over 6 plus 105 here. You're not laying any vig. You're getting a little bit of plus money, and these two teams have shown that they can score goals. It's just a matter of whether you believe the Dallas Stars are going to be much better defensively like they were in Game 4. So with that said, I'm sticking with the puck line and the Dallas Stars.
All right, Dallas Stars, and taking that puck line, getting a great price there. Looking at the total, as you mentioned, Carm, I have had my eye on the in games here in this series. It's crazy. In the last 3 meetings here, we've seen a combined 1 goal in the first period. The last 3 games, guys, and the second period has just gone crazy in every one of these games in this series. So it's very weird for us to recommend live wagers on a show that's taking place at 11 o'clock Eastern time, and the game isn't actually going on right now. But I'll tell you what, the amount of times that this game, these two teams have faced, even this season, where it started off slow, and then once one team finds the back of the net, the old expression, the floodgates open, would be an understatement in this series, seeing 3, 4, 5 goals sometimes in the second period. Guys, I also want to take it even another step further and take a look at Dallas on their team total over 3.5 goals. In 5 of their last 6 games, this includes their series against Minnesota as well, they have reached at least 4 goals. You're getting minus 105 on this one. And to the point that Bryan made, and I love, what he just mentioned there, the numbers, that it's, that the odds there on Dallas on the money line, they're not really that intriguing. They're not really something that you want to race to the window to bet. But when I look at it, there's actually been a game this series where Dallas lost to Seattle, but they still scored 4 goals. And I've mentioned this countless times about certain teams and the beauty of betting these team totals. That's where I'm going to look tonight. And especially with the adjustment there, with the total going from 5.5 to 6. I know a lot of people still like it, but I'll just specifically go into Dallas on their team total over 3.5. I'm not saying Seattle can't respond as well, and we might just see the full game go way over as well. But I'm going to just narrow in on Dallas. I really believe that what we saw last game from them can be replicated. This is something that they don't want to just continue going back and forth. And of course, no team does. But I believe the way Dallas is built, and they're a very well-coached team, there's going to be a huge emphasis on defense on their end and capitalizing on their chances. So I'll take Dallas's team total over the 3.5. Carm, I just got a message from you on Slack, so I'm assuming you're jumping in here.
Yeah, before we get into our charity challenge and our best bets, I just want to mention, when we look at this, it's when you're looking at totals and you look at this series, you would never imagine that these teams have faced each other 7 times, and we know how good Dallas is, and we know how well Seattle can play. That every single game has gone over the total. You look at the 3 games during the regular season, and they were 4-3 for Dallas, 5-2 for Dallas, and 5-4 for Seattle. And in the series, 5-4 for Seattle again, 4-2 for Dallas, 7-2 for the Kraken, and then Dallas 6-3. Every single game has gone over the total between these two thus far this season, 4 in the playoffs and 3 during the regular season, 7 games. And it is just so tough when you see that to say, It is like the guy at the roulette wheel who is betting black or betting red because the last 8 spins have all been black. Red's got to come out sooner or later. I can't bet the under, thinking eventually it's going to hit. It's just each spin is independent of itself, and each total is independent of itself. And as far as tonight's game goes, I just wanted to make light of what the totals have been between these teams, where they're always 5.5, and they've all flown over the total, with the exception of that 4-2 win by the Stars in Game 2.
Carmen, I'm going to go right back to you for your charity challenge pick. Then we're going to go to Brian for his best bet. Back to me for the charity challenge. We'll get you for your best bet, then I'll close out the show, if we can remember that in order. So back to you, Carm, for what you have for your charity challenge selection.
Yeah, I haven't even had any of the Presidente beers that are in my room fridge, but I still didn't understand that. It's only been water for me this morning. Andrew, for the charity challenge, I wish that we could get a frozen picture of me up there and the Danner producer saying this, because he did it to you once. And I'm taking Rupe Hintz, and in Dan's words, he's going to be all over the ice tonight. I'm taking Hintz over 2.5 shots, minus 135. It's a little more big than I would want to lay for the charity challenge, but I said any play on this challenge, I would keep it at minus 150 or under, and this one falls into that category. So Rupe Hintz, shots on goal over 2.5, minus 135.
And that's where you throw it to Brian, Carm.
And let's go to Brian.
I'm going to take a look at the first game we discussed, and I'll go with Carolina. I just have been so impressed by them. They've got one of the biggest home ice advantages in hockey, and as I mentioned, I believe they're 11-2 straight up at home in the playoffs. New Jersey has just been one of those teams that has. I'm surprised they got past the Rangers, which brings up another point that I don't think the Rangers coach should have been fired. We'll talk about that some other time, but. Yeah, we'll take Carolina here. What I consider to be a cheap number, considering the dominance at home at minus 130.
All right. I like that one quite a bit, Brian, and I could talk about that with you all day long, too, about the Rangers coach. He's actually from near my neck of the woods, and I'll tell you what, he's collecting a paycheck right now from both the Rangers and the Golden Knights, and he currently doesn't work for either of them. So at least he's not short on cash, that's for sure with him. For me, my charity challenge selection, I'm going to go with the over in the Devils and Hurricanes game. We'll go over 6 here. I believe both teams have certainly found their offenses. Although we can see good defensive hockey out of these clubs, I feel like the series has certainly switched into an offensive type series. We have Carolina trying to close things out. I expect plenty of goals in this one, a very fast pace, and the top scorers are playing well right now at a high level for both clubs. I'll go over 6 at a plus price for my charity challenge selection. Back to you, Carm, for your best bet.
All right, couple games up in Europa League action. Yesterday we had a Champions League 4% play on Inter Milan, an easy winner in Leg 1. 2 Europa League games today. Those go off at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. An NHL plays and props up tonight as well, too. 2 plays, 2 props, and it's 50% off Throwback Thursday, so you get those for half the price. My free play is going to be Nico Hischier. Shots on goal, same thing. Last couple of games, he's finally shown up in games in which the Devils needed to win, but they didn't. They split the 2 games out. Again, he's going to get a lot of ice time, so I'm going to go over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 130. Nico Hischier, and I'll throw it to you, Brian.
You threw it to me once before.
Brian did his best bet. He's good. We'll close things out. For me, guys, I've got a bunch of early plays in the MLB, so it's a great day for an all-access pass. As Carm mentioned, it's 50% off day, Throwback Thursday at WagerTalk. So if you want to just grab an all-access one-day pass, I believe that's the best way to go for me today. You'll be getting a handful of selections across the NHL and in the MLB. For my best bet on the show, I will go back to what I talked about with the over 3.5 team total for Dallas. They've hit this in 5 of their last 6 games. I expect them focused and ready to take a good hold on this series tonight. So I'll take Dallas over 3.5 team total for my best bet on the show. You guys can find all of our selections on the screen right now. We appreciate everybody for watching. Live chat is always bumping. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button on the way out, leave a comment, let us know what you're taking tonight. Tomorrow's show will be just Brian and I. We'll have Carmine back, I believe, the next day. Carmine, enjoy the sunshine, man. Enjoy the birthday celebrations. Brian, thank you as always for joining me. And guys, best of luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
If you love $9 Monday and $2 Tuesday, you're really going to appreciate our new Throwback Thursday when all daily packages are slashed in half. Yes, you heard right. At both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, all Thursday daily packages are now 50% off. This means that a 4% package will be only $12.50. A 5% top-rated play, normally priced at $35, will be only $17.50. And the hottest sales item of the day, get a full day of access from the handicappers of your choice. That's one day of every applicable play they release, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $39 for only $19.50. The best part is you can come back every Thursday to take advantage of this limited time 50% off spring offer.